نلتقي وإياكم في هذا اللقاء الحصري لصحيفة الأيام مع وزير الدولة الألماني للشؤون الخارجية توبيس ليندرر. أهلا وسهلا بك. I'm going to start with German participation to Manama Dialogue 2023. What do you think about this participation today?
So, as you know, Germany is a regular participator at the Manama Dialogue. It's important for us to express our views as well as to come and to listen and to understand. And in these days, it's a very important forum to discuss the situation in Gaza and to try to understand where there is common ground to find peace and to find a way forward.
I'm going to move to Gaza topic. You have supportive position for Israel after Hamas attack on 7th of October. But right now, this war is targeting civilian people. When we talk about more than 12,000 people being killed, 67% of them, they are kids, children. So how many Palestinians has to be killed, then Israel can say we eliminate Hamas?
You know, when I see the pictures of women and children being killed in Gaza, usually I start to cry. I cannot sleep. It's appalling me. Every country in the world has the right to self-defense. Imagine if on my country or your country, 10,000 rockets would have been fired, for sure we would try to defend ourselves. But we have to make clear it has to be within the boundaries of international humanitarian law, and it has to respect principles like necessity, distinction, proportionality. And when I see these pictures, I'm totally convinced that we need humanitarian pauses. The killing needs to stop. And the civilian population in Gaza, they need to be provided better with humanitarian aid, and the humanitarian situation, which is already horrific, needs to be improved immediately.
Okay, what about German role can play in this tragedy, humanitarian tragedy? When we talk about a few days ago, German said no ceasefire in Gaza. This position being taken from German. So this is like kind of supporting for this war to be continued.
You know, we are arguing, and that's also stated in the resolution of the Security Council of the United Nations. If you look at the words for humanitarian pauses, which means that the military operation at least needs to pause. I think where there's a difference is between the notion ceasefire and humanitarian pause, because a ceasefire would also demand from Israel to abstain from its right to self-defense. There is a right of self-defense for every country in the world, but with respect to international humanitarian law. So I believe when I'm here, I see that we have a common goal, all countries, and the debate is not about ceasefire or humanitarian pauses. It's about a common goal that the killing stops in Gaza and that the civilian population is protected.
Your Excellency, let me just mention some opinion in Arabic word that they say German try to pay their guilty feelings regarding Holocaust by Palestinians. What's your comment about that?
My comment is that's not true. For sure, my country has a special responsibility, and Israel's existence is non-negotiable for us. That's clear. But believe me, we are not one-sided and we are not blind-eyed. We are for decades the second largest donor when it comes to humanitarian aid for the Palestinian people, and they are in need. We are a staunch supporter of a two-state solution. We believe it's the only way for just and lasting peace in the region. And my participation here today at that conference also should express that we care about the fate of the Palestinian people. When I see killed children and women, it doesn't let me sleep at night.
If we say this conflict cannot be resolved by military solution, has to be a political solution, what about the solution of two states? What Germany can do, play a role for this solution? We know since 30 years, we didn't see any sign coming from Israel that showing that they want the solution to be in the ground.
So first of all, let me clarify. You know, I do not believe that you can find a political solution with Hamas, who has shown that it also uses methods of Daesh on October the 7th. When we see murdered children in Israel, I cry too. You know, humanity is universal, and when we care about civilians, I care about Palestinian civilians as well as Israeli civilians or civilians of other countries. But what Germany can do is, I believe, you know, the speciality of our relationship to Israel can also be a bridge, can also be a link to be very outspoken to our Israeli partners and try to convince them that the only way for just and lasting peace in the region will be a two-state solution. And a two-state solution needs to be based on the boundaries of 67, meaning that a future Palestine state will also include the territory of Gaza, meaning that the population does not to be forced to leave Gaza. Gaza must be reconstructed in a way that a life in security and in some kind of prosperity is also in Gaza possible.
Okay, what about the scenario after the war, after stop military operations? What German can play a role, especially that Arabic countries, they rejected to send any troops to Gaza. It's not their mission to provide security for Israel. This is what the main comment about that. So what's the scenario you prefer or you recommend for the situation, especially the situation after the war will be more dangerous than military operations? And we don't want to wake up in the morning and we find other extremist group,
absolutely,
even more extremist than Hamas.
You know, the discussion about the day after the war, it's one of the reasons why I came here to Manama, because we need to be pragmatic. What I have heard right now is all our principles on which we can agree what we do not want. We do not want to have the next Hamas or the next terrorist organization to be breeded in Gaza. We do not want to have another occupation. I believe we should also listen to the people in Gaza. It's their right of self-determination what the future state of Gaza until a two-state solution emerges will be. I can assure you that Germany is committed to work with its Arab partners about a solution. We need the Arab world, we need the Gulf countries to get involved on a political solution. But I have fully understood here in Manama that you also need our support from the Western world to step in. You know, we are the second largest donor of humanitarian aid, and I can assure you it's in our own interest that a future life in Gaza, in security and also in economic prosperity should be possible.
Today, most residents of Gaza move from north to south. There is any forces can guarantee them that they're not going to be forced to move to Egypt?
You know that also at the meeting of the G7 foreign ministers, they have agreed on the principle that the population must not be forced to leave Gaza. But that's what I can say about it. That's
what about if Israel continue bombing south of Gaza? Like same yesterday, Khan Yunis was bombed. So how we can guarantee that they will not be forced?
You know, it would be impossible that I have any security guarantees within my own bag. The only thing I can assure you is that we see these pictures, that we see this news, that we have some questions, and that when we're speaking to our Israeli partners, we are also outspoken on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.